They promise you financial independence, retire early. They show you sunny beaches and endless freedom. They sell you a vision of escaping the rat race by the time you're 40, all thanks to a simple-sounding formula of saving and investing. But what if I told you the path to FIRE isn't a modern hack for happiness, but a historical tradition of extreme austerity disguised as a lifestyle movement? Welcome back to the Anti-Motivational Historian, where we expose the historical baggage behind today's self-help fads. Today, we're tearing down the 4% rule and the cult of the spreadsheet, the lie of FIRE. The modern FIRE movement, in its pure form, repackages ancient, often religiously driven, asceticism and unsustainable Victorian-era budgeting. It strips away their philosophical meaning and substitutes it with a single, fragile, individualistic goal: escape. This isn't financial freedom. It's a new form of puritanical self-denial that ignores the richness of the present for a mere statistical probability in the future. We need to look back to understand why this movement feels more like punishment than liberation. When we look at history, we see people choosing radical frugality, but they did it for a reason far deeper than a stock portfolio. This practice is called asceticism, strict self-denial. But historically, it was for spiritual or philosophical freedom, not just financial. Take Diogenes the Cynic in ancient Greece. He literally lived in a barrel and owned almost nothing. He actively rejected material wealth, but not to get rich later. He did it for complete intellectual and personal freedom, a freedom from social expectation. Similarly, in early Christian and Buddhist monasticism, austerity was a means to enlightenment or moral purity, not an end goal of early retirement. The purpose was moral, spiritual, or civic. These ancient movements accepted current suffering for a higher, non-financial reward. The FIRE movement accepts current suffering for a higher, purely financial reward, a stark philosophical downgrade that trades soul for a spreadsheet number. The moralization of thrift really kicked off with the Protestant work ethic. Max Weber's concept shows how saving became a moral virtue and spending, especially on pleasure, became a moral sin. This is the emotional core of FIRE, that feeling of guilt over buying a $5 latte, not because of the cost, but because of the inherent waste. Look at Benjamin Franklin, the poster child for American thrift. His maxims, "A penny saved is a penny earned," are the rallying cries for FIRE. But Franklin's goal wasn't just to stop working. He used his wealth and his systems of saving to fund public works, hospitals, and political endeavors. His personal austerity had a civic purpose. It was about building a society, not just an individual bunker. FIRE keeps the punishing thrift but discards the public, civic, or spiritual purpose. It reduces human striving to an individualistic, optimized escape plan, where the entire point is just to stop participating. The foundation of the whole movement rests on the infamous 4% rule. This rule suggests that if you withdraw 4% of your initial portfolio value, adjusted for inflation each year, your money should last indefinitely. Where did this come from? It stems primarily from the Trinity study of 1998, which was based on historical market performance between 1926 and 1995. Crucially, it was designed for a 30-year traditional retirement, beginning around age 65. Now, let's look at the critique. The modern FIRE aspirant retires at 35 or 40. Requiring the money to last 50 or 60 years. You are more than doubling the time horizon the study was built on. You are betting your most valuable asset, your present, healthy, working life, on the assumption that future market performance will not only mimic the past, but will do so under decades of sequence of returns risk.
The need for 50% plus savings rates creates a life of extreme fragility, the financial edge. A minor recession early on, an unexpected health crisis, or the birth of a child can instantly destroy a 10-15-year plan that required years of intense deprivation. This isn't financial independence, it's financial fatalism, an entire life built on a statistical extrapolation. The FIRE movement advocates for cuts that feel punitive. Biking in the snow to save $5 in gas, living with roommates well into your 30s, never eating out, agonizing over a small purchase. This level of self-denial, however, ignores the concept of marginal utility. There is a point where the spending cuts stop being efficient and start cutting into the core of your existence. Spending $10 on a necessary repair to save 10 hours of manual labor has high utility. Cutting out every small pleasure to save $500 a year has almost none. Historically, this mirrors the budgeting of the Victorian poor, who were forced into impossible choices just for survival. The difference? They had no choice. The FIRE proponent chooses this hardship. You are choosing to sacrifice the golden age of your life when you have peak health, energy, and freedom from aging responsibilities for the potential comfort of a statistically distant old age. The FIRE movement preaches a deferred existence.
Beyond the money, what is the psychological cost? The constant tracking, the obsession with the net worth number, and the comparison culture turns life into a punishing, gamified existence. Every decision, every conversation, every relationship is filtered through the spreadsheet. The historian sees this as a descent into the Taylorism of the soul. Frederick Winslow Taylor advocated for hyper-optimizing industrial processes. FIRE applies that same soul-crushing efficiency to your personal life, stripping away spontaneity, generosity, and joy in favor of maximizing the savings rate metric. You become an asset to be optimized, not a human to be lived. What happens when they actually hit the number? History shows that sudden, unearned, and purposeless leisure often leads to depression, alcoholism, and existential crises. This is the ultimate FIRE paradox. They work brutal, high-stress jobs to get to a point of early retirement, only to be completely unprepared for the emotional vacuum. The very skill they developed, extreme budgeting and optimization, becomes obsolete and maladaptive when money is no longer the issue. If your work is merely something to escape, and your escape leads to nothing, you have wasted 2 decades for no discernible purpose.
The lie of financial independence is that it offers freedom. In reality, it demands hyperdependence on a statistical model, on future market returns, and on a life of self-imposed, purposeless austerity. It's a puritanical self-help cult wrapped in a quarterly report. True financial independence is not escape, it is flexibility. Stop optimizing for the distant escape and start optimizing for a sustainable, meaningful present. Instead of chasing a 25x multiplier, maybe you only need a 5x multiplier. Enough money for a 6-month work break, a career change, or the confidence to take a pay cut for a more fulfilling, lower-stress job. That is the only real independence history offers, the flexibility to choose work that doesn't require escape. Stop chasing the spreadsheet and start living. What historical obsession with self-denial should the anti-motivational historian investigate next? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this history lesson in anti-motivation, hit that subscribe button. Until next time,